know your coaching members don't have Porsche 911 Turbo S's? I didn't know you were poor, buddy. Oh, my guy's making 10K a month. He spends 10K a month on gas.
Yeah. Juice is eating ice cream with lots of caramel. I just had a ice cream.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so about a year and a half ago, I wasn't offering any coaching, any consulting. I had this one kid who hit me up and was like, Ben, can I please pay you for a few consulting calls? And he harassed me a little bit, so I said yes, eventually. And a year later, less than a year later, this is Danny. And behind him, you'll see this beautiful piece of metal over here. This is called a Porsche 911 Turbo. And Danny actually owns this Porsche 911 Turbo. Danny, a year ago, when you paid me for consulting, how much money were you making?
I was making about less than $5,000 a month, probably around 3.
And roughly, we don't need an exact number, what are you making now?
Roughly around 100 to 150,000.
Obviously, because he's wearing a full Loro Piano fit, he's got the Prezi on, and the hunk of metal. So, Danny was one of the biggest reasons why I actually started coaching and I started Artisan Lab, is because I saw the results that he got over the course of the year. And obviously, really smart, works really hard, knows his shit, just a fucking good all-around kid. But that gave me the conviction to start Artisan Lab, and Danny, we're gonna dive into how you did it. Okay, so one of the coolest things about Danny, before we get into the interview, is, Danny, how many clients do you have?
Yeah, one client.
One client, basically as a partner, making 6 figures a month without having a huge team of his own and hundreds of clients and, oh, sir, please give me $1,000 a month. No, one client, 6 figures a month. Let's get into how he did it. So let's start off. Take me back a year ago when you're getting into the info product space. Where were you before that? What was going on? What was happening in your life that led you here?
Oh, yeah. I started with a short form agency. I had a couple clients that went viral, posting videos and all that kind of stuff for them. I was basically doing clipping before clipping existed. And then one of my clients went viral in a month, grew like 60,000 followers, and people wanted a course from them. At the time, I didn't want anything to do with that. I was like, oh, I just want to film my videos, make my money filming videos. Courses, what is this? Nobody makes money from that, right? And then my second client blew up, and it was the same thing. And so I took on the opportunity to start building a course. Absolutely flopped, by the way. Made $100, I think. But then that kind of opened up this new world of, oh, people are charging $1,000 for a little, a couple videos. And that's when I also flew to Miami for the first time. I met a bunch of gurus out here and, started seeing what was really possible. Met Jacob Levinred, actually. And he was telling me a little bit about, online money.
Yeah.
And, once I realized that there's a lot of money in it, I just never looked back. And from that day forward, I just started.
One Miami trip indoctrinated you into the guru world.
Yeah, now I live.
I want to sell info. Okay.
Now I live in Miami.
So you're kind of spinning your wheels with the content agency. And I think that's a great way to start making money. It's like, okay, I can just learn how to use a camera a bit and go find local businesses that
a camera has gotten me into so many rooms with so many people that like are making so much money just because I know how to set up a camera in the right way. Yeah. Anybody that isn't really doing anything, they need to start with that skill first.
That's actually, I started with like freelance videography as well.
Yeah.
I never made real money with it, but like I had a couple clients doing that. And then I think, it works because it teaches you like, from a fundamental standpoint, a service-based business is just like learn some skills, offer it to business owners that need it. And before you even do that, it doesn't click. Like when you're just this little kid, like, oh, it looks cool to be in a 911 Turbo S, but you don't know how to get there. Even just getting a small win like that can you can start to understand, okay, if I can produce more value, then I can make more money. So what was the transition like from you going from being a video guy to figuring out like, okay, the money is in selling info? Where'd you go from there?
Well, I had an idea that if I can just build a course. So a buddy of mine actually came up with the idea first off, months before I even thought about it. And I was still filming videos, and he was like, we should build courses for a bunch of people and then just take a percentage. And at the time I was like, what is this? Nah, let me film my videos, make $600 a month, and like that other shit, just nah. And then eventually it came to me again, and I was just like, I should build courses for people and just own a percentage of their business. That way I could just continue to make money from them as they start to scale. And so that was the initial idea until I started to understand, okay, what makes an actual info product business scale? And I've heard the word info product passed around multiple times, especially with people like Iman and different YouTubers, but I never really understood what, even Alex Ramosi would talk about it, but I never understood what it actually was until I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh, all these people just sell courses.
Yep.
The biggest gurus and the biggest YouTubers just sell courses.
Yeah.
And that's when it all clicked, and ever since then, I just was like, okay, now how do I grow some, how do I actually make this a reality and, make a lot of sales? And so it took a lot of trial and error, a lot of, paid for a lot of mentorship, paid for people's experiences, and just little by little, I've been iterating.
Yeah. So where'd you start as far as like, all right, I've watched enough YouTube videos. I have a solid understanding of the services that I'll need to fulfill and what that'll look like. And then I imagine you're like, okay, I'm ready to dive into outreach. Where'd you start there? And like, I remember when you came on in Artisan Lab and you talked about your experience with outreach. You were fucking in the trenches for a while.
Yeah.
And then you cracked the code.
Yeah.
Why don't we go through that? So like getting into outreach and going from there.
Yeah. So, I've had a couple mentors even before I met you. And one of the biggest things that I was told was like, when you're doing this kind of outreach, cold DMs is never going to work. Like, especially right now, if you're a new business, you're going to stay broke if you
hello, sir. Can I please offer you money, sir? Please.
Yeah.
Emails?
I can make you 1% of your business or 1% of your following. And even before the whole market was saturated with these growth operators, I understood that because I myself would look at these people and I'm like, all the cold DMs that would come to me, never answer a single one. And I had 1,000 followers at the time. Now, this mentor, he told me that the best way to do it is like a guerrilla style marketing, he was even telling me like, buy a cake and send it to their office or send it to their house and like with like a note on it, which I was like, okay, that's a little too much. I wasn't going to scale that. But I started to understand where people weren't really kind of being bombarded, especially on Instagram. And that was through the close friends stories.
Yeah.
And so I kind of made my little
We don't have to go too deep into that, but
it's it's inside of Artisan Lab, by the way.
He said it for me. If you want to know the exact sauce there, Danny did share that inside of Artisan Lab. But you did, I think the real value there is like, you understood, okay, everybody's just sending random pitches and doing as many as they can get out per day. Like, that's not how you're going to get a client. You're going to have to be crafty.
Yeah.
And the close friends thing that you were doing was just an outlet for that craftiness.
Yeah.
Something else can replace that if you're doing outreach. But for you, that started working, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about how else to reach people. I mean, there's skip tracing, softwares and things. Like I can find people's addresses.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put that online, but I can figure out a lot of information about somebody, and it's not very hard to do that.
No.
And so if you just were looking in the right places and just thought outside of the box instead of just taking a single course and using the same exact script that everybody does, you're going to see results a lot quicker.
Right. So when you got into outreach, how long did it take you of like being an idiot and sending retarded pitches?
Yeah, I was an idiot for a while.
Then transitioning over to like, okay, I'm going to focus on sending quality messages. And like, it seemed like once you made that pivot, you got success relatively quickly after.
Yeah. I just, part of that was just knowing a lot of everything.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, you like to consume a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would watch different business models and different things, and I understood how to do them, but I'd never take action on them. Because in my head at the time, I still thought those didn't work, like for most people, which is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of just knew about like how every single business worked, and so I was able to speak their lingo. And it took about, I would say like 2-3 months before it really started to click, and I started to understand what script and how to text people where I didn't come across as an idiot or I didn't come across as retarded,
Yeah.
and I actually knew what I was talking about, and I could get them results.
Yep.
Yeah, 2-3 months of just solid, just every day.
Right. And like when you really think about it, it's not that long. Yes, it sucks while you're in that 2 to 3 month phase where
Yeah.
you just are running around like a chicken with your head cut off. But like once you get through it, you know, for you and for me as well, like I've had single clients that have paid me multiple 5 figures. You have one client that you're making 6 figures a month from. Like it's worth it, you know?
It's 100% worth it, and you only need it one time. That's the crazy part. That's what I try to explain to people. You only need to have success one time, and what you're looking for is not really the money at that point. You're looking for the conviction.
Yeah.
Once you have the conviction of, oh, this actually works, now you can just double down on it. The worst and best thing that can happen to somebody when they gamble is they win on the first time. Because they know it works, but then they also, since they know it works, they're willing to spend way more money than they would have spent in the beginning, and now they're becoming degenerates.
Yep.
Right? For somebody who comes in their first, like if you were a first timer to the casino and you lost all your money, you're like, oh, this shit, I'm not really a fan of this. But if you're up the first time, you're gonna want to go back every single weekend.
Yep.
That's the same thing with success.
That was a bar.
Yeah.
So once you started to get replies in your outreach, you're getting on calls, you're getting a couple clients. I know you had a few before you found the one that really hit for you.
Yeah.
What do you think was the difference between like, oh yeah, I got a couple clients that went okay versus now having one where you're like truly a partner in his business? Like I don't even think using the word client is fair. It's basically like your partners.
No, we're partners at this point. The biggest difference was, I think it was just figuring out, obviously there's potential, like understanding who has the biggest potential and who really wants this to, explode. I feel like everybody wants to make money from it, but nobody's really willing to double down and take the risks. But then also I was looking for somebody who would give me the freedom of like, hey, I'm not going to do anything. You just run it. Right. And it was perfect because when I met my business partner, it was a time where he didn't really understand what was possible. And I knew everything about this whole entire business. And so he was just like, you know what? Let's just run it, figure it out. Like we'll just do it. And so it allowed me to have way more freedom. I didn't have to worry about somebody kind of just being like, hey, what's the, like, when are we doing this? It was mostly just me testing different shit and asking different people and just figuring it out along the way.
Yeah. So what I think is really cool about your story as well is you can go back to 9 months ago on my YouTube channel and look at the video when you closed this guy and
you
started
knew
working
already
with him.
That's why you posted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, bro.
What if this was all just staged and we actually were just like, faking the results?
Yeah, we planned out a year in advance.
Yeah.
So I guess I remember on that call, and actually I watched it back recently.
Yeah.
When you started off with him, it was going well, but like neither of us were like, oh, this is 100% gonna be a fucking winner.
Yeah.
And I didn't predict that it would turn into what it is now, and obviously it's been incredible for both of you. But like, what do you think those things are about your duo and his personal brand that like kind of just makes it a perfect storm?
To be honest, I had full belief since day one that we were going to do it minimum 300K.
Mm-hmm.
I have text. It's funny because the first time we did 600,000, we did 650,000, and it was like 4 months before that we were like at 150,000 a month, which is still crazy, but it wasn't anywhere. For me, I was just like, we're not there. Like we got to keep going. And I remember texting him one morning, and I was like, in 4 months from now, we're going to do 650,000 in a month. And I broke it down how many high ticket things that we were going to sell, how many low ticket things we were going to sell, and the whole entire business model. And he was just like, okay. Like he didn't even know what I was talking about. Yeah. I was in my own world at that point. And so I just knew that it was possible. Like I never kind of limited myself to like, oh, this can only get to 200K or 300K or 100K. It was just like, okay, I'm going to run this up to 1, 2, 3 million.
Yep.
Our goal now is 10 million. So that's the next goal. And obviously we have to restructure a bunch of stuff, but yeah, it was always the same thing. And funny enough, 4 months later, we hit 650,000 on the dot. So I was like,
Wow.
fucking called it.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
How much did you guys do initially off launch that first month with them?
First month we did, in 30 days, we did 100K. Calendar month, it was like 80K.
And what did you do? Like, what was your role in all of that?
Oh,
Just out of,
yeah. For everybody that is starting out in this business, it's not easy. I appointment set it. I did all the copy, built all the funnels, managed the CRM, wrote all the emails, and then on top of all that, I was taking sales calls. I was working 10 hours a day taking sales calls. In between calls, I would work on the rest of the business or set my own calls and then like get back on those calls. So it was I ran everything, but I'm blessed and I'm happy that it went that way. And I think everybody should, if you're running this business as an actual business where you plan on hiring other employees and having like managers and managers of managers and things like that, you want to be at a certain point in time. You want to have done everything in the business, because then you get to understand everything. And when they have a question, you're able to answer that and be like, okay, this was working for me back in the day. Like I have not done a sales call in 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody asks me a sales question, I'll tell them exactly how they should handle it.
Yep.
Same thing with appointment setting. Right now, we've just hired a whole team of phone setters. I'll hop on calls. I haven't phone set in probably 10 months.
Yeah.
But, if they have a question, I'm able to answer it.
You were wearing every hat, and that forced you to get
Good
solid
at
at
everything.
everything. And yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, you're running everything. You kind of built the infrastructure. He's just focusing on the content. I imagine he's like, holy shit! He can start to kind of see the potential.
Yep.
Where did you go from there as far as getting yourself out of all of the day-to-day operations and doing literally everything? And then how long did it take you guys to get to $250,000 or $500,000 a month?
$500,000 came pretty quick. Very fucking quick, actually. So the first question, to answer your first question, it took a long time. And even to this day, there's still very mundane tasks, admin level tasks that I will do as the CEO, because I'm still trying to understand what is the best way to make this process efficient, so that once either my business partner, he's taking the calls, all those like the one-on-one calls and things like that. Once we actually remove him from that side, how can we build something where the students actually get results? Because that was a big concern of mine. I don't want to build something that's nobody gets results. We get sued. We get scammed. Like we get called scammers and all that kind of stuff. So till this day, I'm still constantly like testing different things. But for the most part, I would say on the sales side, it took me about a month and a half. I had good enough numbers to start looking for A players. And then, on the copy side, that was probably closer to like 5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. And then as far as the $500,000
The $500,000 month, I'll tell you, like month 1, we did 100. Month 2, we did 150. No, we did like 130. Month 3, we did 150. Month 4, we did 160. Month 5, we did 240. Month 6, we did 650.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, that's crazy that you knew all of those numbers off the bat. Second, why do you think it just kept climbing like that? Was that, you're building a better infrastructure as
I was
he
just buying
continues
my
to make
time
more
back.
Yeah.
That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
Because I was doing everything before, and so by myself, 100K, 120K, cool.
Yeah.
I knew that I can produce 120K, but I was killing absolutely working 12, 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
But got a sales rep. We started bringing more money like that. I bought my time back. And then what really, made it a big change was like when we brought in our appointment center. So now the whole booking process was automated, and I didn't have to worry about DMing people at all. Yeah. And so they were just their own little team, and they were working side by side and trying to make each other better. And yeah, that's how it like exponentially just continued to grow. And till this day, I'm still buying my time back with different things.
Yep. What took it from 200 to 600 in that 1 month?
There are a couple things. I say one of the biggest things, and I hope he watches this, is my appointment setter. Like honestly, like he is like me when it comes to he puts ego aside, and I put ego aside for even when I was running a short form content agency. Like I had clients that would like screw me over and kind of take advantage, and that was all because I put my ego aside and I would do more for them and not get compensated in return. But he's the same way, and he was like, look, I see the potential in this. I was kind of explaining what this could be. He was like, I'm all in, whatever you need me to do.
Damn.
And so he just gave me so much time where we both started to focus on the highest lever, or the highest leverage tasks.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
I would never think that would be your answer.
Yeah.
Because
he's made multiple 5 figures in a month.
As an appointment setter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Multiple
And
5 figures.
is he still setting, or did you get him closing now?
No.
as well?
So the craziest part is that he came from a closing position.
Oh, wow.
A top closer, by the way. And he was like, you know what? I was a closer. I always wanted a setter that would be able to handle X, Y, and Z. So I told him when he came in, look, be the setter that you've always wanted for my other closer, and I guarantee you we'll make money. And he was like, okay, I got it. Till this day, he doesn't want to be a closer. He's just like,
Wow.
I'll manage, I'll do everything else. I don't want to be a closer. He was still a DM setter until last month, and now we just, he's now a manager. But yeah.
Damn. All right. So I guess moving on from there, now that you guys are around the 7-figure a month mark,
Yeah.
what is it? What got you there? For anybody watching, whether they have their own clients or their own info business, like what are the few traits that just align perfectly with your relationship, the offer, anything else that you guys are doing that you
The
think?
exact combination? There's a lot of things. I'll tell you the things that aren't replicable and the things that are replicable. The things that aren't replicable are, my business partner, he's the face. And so his story plays a big part, right? A lot of people see that, he was able to amass this success in such a short time. Before that, he was in prison. And so they look at that and they say, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then that goes into our messaging, which we play a lot on that and making it so low barrier. And our offers been changing so many times. Or real estate being the other thing as well. People just come into real estate and already are sold. Like they know real estate makes money.
Mm-hmm.
With these other businesses, you kind of have to walk them through this whole entire process of, indoctrinate them in learning what the actual business model is. And
Right. Like this is the best way to make
on the
money.
street,
Yeah.
if you say real estate, they know that they make money. I don't know how, but they make money.
Yep.
And so that name helped a lot. And then, just being able to divide our attention. Like he was good at content. He didn't really know anything in terms of business. He still doesn't know anything. It's funny.
That's why it's the perfect fucking relationship for you guys.
And I'm just business oriented.
Yeah.
Like I just am in business all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I love it. And so that was it allowed us to focus on what we do best and go like that.
I love it. So I remember, bro, you used to show up to our calls wearing the Porsche hat.
Yeah, I was going to bring it. I should have brought it, yeah.
And you were just kind of starting out in the info space. You got a couple clients. This guy was one of them.
Yep.
And now you're here driving a 911 Turbo S, making 6 figures a month.
Less than a year.
Moved to Miami. How'd it feel?
I don't know. It went by pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And part of why I think successes come very, very quickly is because the circles I'm around.
Yeah.
Like my circle, I'm not going to say what car it is, but my business partner got a hypercar.
Yeah.
I just got this turbo. I got
there's
this
like
easily.
supercar.
Yeah.
And then there's like hypercar.
Hyper.
Just for everybody watching.
Yeah. So 7 figures plus, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a Turbo S. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's cute.
I feel you.
But then,
Brez just bought a
Brez just bought a
GT3
GT3 RS.
Yeah.
Mason has a F8.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get by with a little measly Turbo S.
I know, it's humble.
You know, it's humble. And so I see that, and the way things have gone, it's just we're scaling so quickly that I haven't really gotten a chance to, like, I don't spend any of my I don't spend.
You say that as you're wearing a $50,000 watch and a full Loro Piana Fit.
Well,
I don't spend any money.
Before the month, this last month, I wasn't spending any of my money.
Yeah.
Like, most of my money would either go to family or savings.
Yeah.
This last month, I kind of had a little
dude.
realization. But that's because it's been growing so quickly that now I understand. Like, I had a chance to reflect, and I'm like, okay, you know, things
Yeah.
are different now. And so now it's really just about like figuring out what's the next, how I can keep this like exponential level of growth constantly.
Yeah.
Because at 100K a month, 150,000 a month, you know, most things you can afford.
Right. Life's
almost
pretty
everything.
good.
Life's pretty good. You still you don't feel rich, but you can afford everything.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Yeah.
but when you're at 5 or 10K a month, you're like $100,000 a month. Like, what could I not buy?
Yeah.
But in the 100 range, you're like,
I feel
I got
poor.
money, but like,
I feel
I
poor,
can't
bro.
just be fucking reckless. Like, I
No.
want to be reckless.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't book a PJ.
right, buying a 7-figure car.
No.
That's reckless. Couldn't
Yeah.
do that.
Nope. And so that's like, that's where what I'm trying to understand now. I'm just like, what's next? What's gonna get me to that 8-figure net worth?
Yeah.
Like, as quick as possible. And so now that we have our time, like, you have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time on my hands because I built out this whole entire team. What can I can just do nothing all day and still make the same amount of money. But what can I fill that time with and make, 10 times the amount of money I'm already making?
Yep. Okay, last thing for you. Why do you think it worked for you on like a more kind of personal, internal level?
Yeah.
Why were you able to go from, I'm sure, a very familiar spot for a lot of people watching this, and like for me as well, where you've tried a bunch of different business models, they've kind of worked, you've made some money here and there, nothing's really stuck, to then your growth in less than a year is like as quick as anybody I've ever seen. And so part of, I guess this is going to be a longer question, but
yeah.
I also think that you're 100% more skilled than you were a year ago, but not an insane, like you can't grow
There are people
that
smarter
much,
than you.
right? So like, what is it? What was it mentally that got you here from there?
So there are people smarter than me, first off. Like, I was talking to Philip not like last week, and he was telling me about like, bro, you don't have X, Y, and Z.
Hold on, to Philip, smarter than, let's,
Well,
Philip?
he said something smart. I don't think he's
Okay.
smart.
He said one
he
intelligent thing.
regurgitated something that he probably saw online from one of your videos.
Yeah.
But no, he said something that I wasn't doing, and I was just like, okay, like it just never came to mind. It's maybe not smart is the right word, but he just knows more. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart? Would that be smart?
No,
Knowing more information?
that would be,
What do you define smart as?
that's like your textbook definition of smart. Like, oh, you memorized the test.
But
Intelligence? How would you define intelligence? It's completely off topic, but
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to
You
describe.
know more shit than most people.
No, that's not intelligence. That's like
You're able
information
to apply more
accumulation.
information?
You've accumulated more information. Like any college professor would be more intelligent than us by that definition.
Elon Musk.
But okay, I'll bring it back to this. Have you heard the Naval quote? That's like the only true test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life.
I've never heard of it, but
I think that's a good way to put
Yeah.
it. I don't think that's intelligence as like a whole, but at the end of the day, like if you could be super rich and let's say you're worth multiple 8, even 9 figures.
Okay.
You're in your 50s, you got no family, you got no real close friends, no one to share it with, and like life is pretty dull. Was that intelligent? It required a lot of intelligence to get there financially, but was it intelligent to like completely discard the other areas of life?
Yeah.
versus like the dude who's making $100,000 a year. I say that as if it's like poverty, but the dude who's
Poor
making like
guy.
$100,000 a year.
Poor guy.
That's like, got nice family and
Yeah.
whatever and
Yeah.
enjoys his life.
Yeah.
I don't know. More
Anyways, back to your
philosophical one.
question.
Yeah.
The biggest, me personally, the number one thing is faith, obviously. Like I'm a big believer in Christ, and I wouldn't. None of this is me. Like this, the business, everything is not me. Like I have nothing to do with it because I'm, like I said, there's way smarter people or, whatever it is. There's a lot more people that would be able to do it better than I could ever do it. And so part of it's just like having faith and just executing every day and walking in faith. And, I would do things and I'm just like, okay, if it works, I'm just going to do what I can do.
Yeah.
And God takes care of the rest. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't sell, I mean, for a reason, you know what I mean? And I'd learn a lesson from it. But that's number one. Number two is because I put my ego aside. I was broke. When you're broke, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to film. I'm not going to, build out the course for you. You're the guy, or you're supposed to write the emails or hire a sales rep to take call. You're broke.
Yeah.
You're broke. You have no money. Just do something. And so that I took on every single part of the business. He offered to do some of it. And I was like, I got this. I'm broke. I got this. I got to figure this out. And so I took control of all that, and I was able to just, multiple times it burned me in the past, but it just took that one person to, to get me to that next level. I knew it was already going to come. Everybody that I've seen around me, all the successful friends that I had previously, I would look at them and I knew I was better than them. I knew I was smarter than them.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of time and the right combination of
right opportunity
circumstances.
vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Good way to put it. I remember when you first closed him as well, like you went above and beyond just to get that deal done.
Oh yeah. We went to dinner. I built
Yeah.
funnels for him before. He didn't even know what he was looking at. But
Yeah.
I just put in so much more effort because I just,
And you went and filmed the course with him. Like,
yeah, I filmed the whole.
did everything. All right. Last question, actually, this time. So go back a year ago today. Like that version of you, if there's one thing that you could tell him, what would it be?
Business consists of three things: impressions, sales, and product. If you're not working on those three things, everything else is meaningless. That's from a business perspective. Like from a more,
I like
from
it.
like a mindset
I like
standpoint, everything works.
Mm.
And just keep like the only difference between somebody who's making $500,000 a month and somebody who's making $5,000 a month is that they just have more conviction than you do. If I took your business away from you right now, you just had no business starting today, you would get to $10,000 a month minimum in the next 30 days.
Yep.
And that's not because, you know more and you've experienced more, but also you're not working out of like doubt. You're just, you know exactly what's going to work. So you just replicate what's already worked for you in the past. And it's once you have it once, like I said before, once you have it once, any single business that you go into, it's just impressions, sales, and product. Get more eyeballs, get more people to look at your stuff, figure out how to sell them and how to take money from them, and then make sure your product is really good.
Yep.
And that's it.
Beautiful.
Simple.
The conviction part was so fucking true too.
You gave me that conviction.
Bro, and before you get it, like especially before you make real money online, you don't even know that it's real.
Yeah.
Like you're not going as hard. Some people don't go as hard as they possibly could because you're like, is this even possible? Like, is this even gonna work? But you're right. Like you could strip us of everything, and including network and personal brand, and like we would still get back to 5 figures, multi 5 figures a month really quickly, because there's no doubt. There's no like, I don't think this is gonna work. It's just, okay, do the actions that'll make it work.
Yeah. And when you don't have that, I mean, the other thing is just believe everything. Like I said, everything works. And even if it doesn't, some of these guys are scammers.
Yeah.
We know, like their numbers are not what they say they are.
Yeah.
Some people say they're making millions a month. They're probably making less than 6 figures or 100K a month.
Yeah.
Right. But just believing that that's possible and living in that almost delusion. Like my friend says it really well. It's better to be a delusional winner than a realist loser. And so why not just like live in delusion? Yeah, I'm gonna make $500,000 a month one day.
Yep.
And then it happens, and then you're there. It's simple.
I love it.
Now you buy a Turbo S.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share this with your grandma. Join Artisan Lab if you want to get rich. Be like Danny. I cannot guarantee you a Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Guaranteed Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Almost. If you do everything that's asked of you and more.
Or
and
your
then,
money back.
No, definitely not.
Or your money back. You get your money back if you don't get a Turbo S in
Goodbye.
a year.